Bam. Everything is set. We are on. Restream is on. The radio is on. We have a new producer today. Kevin Chrism is on vacation. Yeah, Kevin had a very important date he had to go to meet with some very important people about the future of, well, himself and the company. And so he couldn't be here today. And we have in his place Jacob. Jacob, I don't know your last name. There he is. We don't have a camera on him, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it that he's an extremely handsome man, handsome young man. Looks to be about 22, 23, something me and Marlon wish we could remember what it felt like to be 22 or 23.
At that age, I think I was running through the streets of Hyde Park in the Boston Police Academy.
Yeah, well, wow. You know what? That's right. You were running through the streets.
Yeah.
And you were in good shape at that time, too.
Oh, geez, don't remind me. It hurts to wake up now, let alone get out there and run at 6 o'clock in the morning through some snow.
You know, it's memories. Memories. What is that song by Barbra Streisand? Memories. Those misty colored memories of the way we were. Yeah. Well, yeah. Those are very misty and very, very watercolored. That's how far back those go. All right, let's get into our prayer here. And you know, I did this prayer on Wednesday, and it comes, as you know, from Tony Evans' prayers for victory in spiritual warfare. But it was so good that I have to say it again. It's called Victory in Marriage. We are in chapter 5, Victory in Marriage. And it's called Putting on the Shoes of Peace. Here it goes. Lord, you know there are issues and areas in my marriage that could drive my spouse and me apart. But God, I ask you in the name of Jesus, our Lord, to heal these areas and bring peace to our home and to our hearts. Lord, start with me. Help me to put on the shoes of peace when I am with my spouse. Let me reflect your peace when I respond to misunderstandings or conflict. And Satan, in the name of Jesus, I rebuke and bind your attempts to disrupt the peace of God in my home and in our hearts. I declare our home and our marriage a place of calm, peace, and mutual kindness. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. We all need that. Whether you're in the marriage or in a serious relationship, there's going to be conflicts, and you will have to put on the shoes of peace in order to massage this conflict or misunderstanding. Let the misunderstanding pass. I wish I could give you better advice on it, but I'm still learning myself. Even at this age, it keeps going on and on and on. So put on the shoes of peace in your relationship if you want it to work. Got anything to say on that, Marlon?
Yeah, you know, you never conquer learning, right? You're constantly learning. Learning is going to be a lifetime thing, right? So, I mean, like you said, you haven't mastered it yet, but I don't know whether or not mastering learning is an achievable goal. So, you have to learn.
Well, let's go to today in history as all of us learn.
As we learn. Let's go back.
See if I can get this turned up here. Today in history. There we go.
Today in history.
Yes, today in history. What have we got? Let me see. I'll tell you what we got here. Today in history. Today in history. On June 21st. June 21st, 1939. The New York Yankees announced Lou Gehrig's retirement. And this was after the doctors diagnosed him and revealed that he had amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Yes. That was a sad day in baseball and in all sports history. Our question is, when did Gehrig, and Gehrig did this himself, when did Gehrig remove himself from the Yankees lineup? He did it early in the year. The question is, when did he do it, what date, and we will give you a mug, water bottle, T-shirt, poster, you name it. We'll give you the Jaguar that's in that picture. No, there's no picture of a Jaguar, so you can't get that. But you got the other things. Give us a call. Give us a call, 844-249-5247, 844-249-5247, or text us, email us. We'll get it to you. And Marlon, I think you got the next question.
Yeah, I believe so. Let's see here. We have on June 21st, 1960, the German sprinter Armand Harry. Is that how you pronounce it?
I believe so. I mean, you know, these German words are tough.
Harry runs the world record in men's 100. He ran it in 10 seconds, 10.0, 10 seconds even. 10 seconds even. And that was in 1960. And we've since shattered that record numerous times. But I'll kick it back to you. Who do you think has the top two current world records?
Who has the top record? Who has the top record, and what is it? What is the current 100-meter dash record, and who holds it?
It's Usain Bolt. See, I threw a curveball at you.
You're giving it away. That's the question.
Well, you know what?
How's anybody going to win the T-shirt?
I don't think anybody was. I'm sorry. I ran down the road, but let's see how good they are. Let's give us the second. Give us the second one. Since I gave away the first one, give us the second one.
It's less. I'm going to give you guys a hint. It's less than half a second. So don't. Even though all attempts are to make it seem like it's crazy, in true reality, it's less than half a second from 1960 to now. But have fun with it. Look it up. Let us know. 844-249-5247. 844-249-5247. Call us up. Text us. Put in the chat overlay, and you could get a prize. We'll take care of it that way. Yeah.
My apologies for messing that all up. I'm new to this thing here, so
just threw it out.
So I want them to give us the second one. Let's make them do some work. I think the first one was pretty much a layup. So let's do a little bit of work. Give us a second.
All right. Well, now we have to move on to the big news.
Now we're going to move on.
Rafael Devers.
Let's have some fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, Boston Red Sox fans and all of Boston, New England, Rafael Devers was traded just last Sunday. It's less than a week. It's been 6 days, and I think the trade happened at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. to be exact, around that time. He had been here 10 years, and this had been going on for a while, right from the preseason when he didn't want to be the DH. Third baseman, they brought in Alex Bregman. He was now going to be the DH, which he should have jumped at. It should have been something he jumped at. Great, make me DH. My career will last longer. I will make more money. This guy balked at it. He made a big stench about becoming the DH. Finally, they massaged him into the DH role. He didn't go there willingly. Then the first baseman, Casas, went down. But he didn't want to take over first base when they needed him to take over base. He didn't want to come in and learn the position to say, okay. He didn't want to do that. Then Alex Bregman went down, and he didn't want to go to third base. So Rafael Devers was behaving like a 10-year-old. A petulant 10-year-old who wanted to strike back at everybody because his favorite toy was taken away because of his bad behavior or because he couldn't manage it well enough. Instead of him learning the lesson, he doubled down. He went back at it and says, well, I'm not going to play first now. I'm not going to play third. I'm just going to hit. And I don't care what you guys think. I don't care about the team. I don't care about management. I don't care about the fans. It's just too darn bad. If you don't like it, that's your problem. And then he got traded. I believe it's addition by subtraction. I believe the team is better off without Rafael Devers in the lineup or on the team. I don't feel bad about the trade. I've been garnering the opinion from most people out there that, it was okay for him to behave this way because they took third base away from him. The guy was a terrible third baseman, and he was going to extend his career as a DH. Everybody should have been happy. This was a win-win situation that he completely messed up. And so I don't feel bad about anything. I'm glad he's gone. And Marlon, you probably have a different opinion, but Marlon, what do you think?
Well, I think I'm supposed to have a different opinion, right? That's what makes it fun. But being out of the market, I wouldn't say being out of the market, but being out of the city and hearing all the, opinions going back and forth and all the different ideas. I would say that Rafael Devers is probably more of a guy that people want to hold on to because I think he's the only member of the current team that has of the last World Series. Is that correct?
2018, yeah, last guy left.
Yeah. So that last one, I think they had they've let quite a few names go. They've let Mookie Betts go, right? They've let Xander Bogaerts go, right? Was that Kiki Hernandez? Was he on that team?
Yeah.
So he's gone. Yeah. So quite a few of those names are gone. So I think a lot of the fans are probably just kind of still holding on to what they had done in the past. But there were some things that they needed to move forward on, and I think it's probably the best that he moved on. But it's a bat that you can't replace. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I just hate that it happened right after we swept the Yankees. I don't know what sign that sends to me or the organization or the fans. I don't know. I think I'm really curious about how this whole thing transpired, but you could be right. It could be addition by subtraction, and hopefully the Red Sox, I think they're 5 games out of first place, and I think maybe only 2 and 2.5 games out of the wild card.
Yeah, they're only 4 games out of first place. They've covered so much ground in the past time of whatever. They're only 4 games out of first place. So they're gaining on the Yankees like Speed Racer was gaining on Racer X. So they could catch him right around the corner. But listen, you guys have heard our opinion. But if you got a different opinion, I mean, if you guys think that Rafael should have stayed or that the Red Sox should have made some sort of concession, call in 844-249-5247. We have our guy Jake looking at the lines to make sure that they're not ringing. So call in and let us know what you think.
They should be ringing. Somebody should be calling in with some opinions because I think right now, if you look at Rafael Devers' numbers, and that they don't blow you out the water, but hopefully that we can replace those numbers. But I don't know whether or not Rafael Devers would have actually continued to improve and his numbers. Maybe he would have finished the season batting over 300. We don't know. It doesn't really matter. So. It's not an
I dare anybody to call in and tell me that he was going to hit over 300. The guy can't get around on the fastball anymore. Arnaldo Chapman blew him away last night with a 102 fastball up in the zone, which is the way they've been throwing it to him. They know his weakness. Now, 6 or 7 years ago, Chapman tried that, and Devers caught that. And he could do it back then. You couldn't get a fastball by him. But now, throw that ball up high, and that high, hard one, you can't get around it. He's a strikeout waiting to happen. I hate to be Belichickian on this, but they got, I would say they traded him at the right time. That would be, the Belichick way of doing it. I still have sentimental feelings toward Devers. It's just that he behaves so badly. When you won't help the team and you are part of a team. Now, if you're a tennis player, okay. If you're a bowler, okay. You can behave petulantly and selfishly. It's only you. You're the guy out there. But when you're part of a team, you have to do things that help the team. And Devers he was not willing to do that. I don't think he ever will be. I think anything he's doing is an act. He's out in San Francisco now saying he's willing to play first base if needed. He just wasn't going to do it in Boston. Listen, buddy, I don't know what you were living in before you came to Boston, but I'm sure you're not living in that same place after Boston started paying you X amount of money, taking care of you and your family. This is like a dog that bites the hand that feeds him. I can't get over this guy. Marlon, are you still there?
I don't know.
You're not there on
like
camera.
I said,
That's
it's hard
okay.
for
We can
me
still
to
hear
feel.
you. But let's just talk about what's been going on with the Red Sox since Devers has been gone. Let's just get that off the way.
Well, they're now in San Francisco. They went to what did they play? Who did they play last?
Yeah, they're playing the very team that they traded. The Devers got traded to and beat them last night.
Yeah, they seem to be again. It's hard to catch a lot of the games down here in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're hanging in beautiful Atlanta down that metropolis called Atlanta, where it's so clean downtown. It's like pristine down there.
Well, I tell you what, it's true to the name right now, Hot Atlanta, because it's hot right now.
Is it hot?
But yeah, it's a little difficult following all the details of what's going on with the Red Sox. As you know me, I'm a homer. I'm always a diehard. I mean, the four big teams are my heart. The Bruins, the Red Sox, Celtics, and Patriots. So I do my best I can try to follow up, but I can't follow everything that goes on from day to day. But I try my best.
No problem. I'll fill you in on everything that you didn't hear down there in Atlanta. I'll fill you on everything that's Red Sox because I'm up on the scuttlebutt.
Well, the only big deal with that is I get your opinion. And you know how we are. We kick the ball around the field.
we hardly agree on anything.
We come out and bumped and everything else.
As they used to say on Dragnet, just the facts. I'll just give you just the facts. I won't give you anything else.
Just the facts, right? Yeah.
Just the facts.
So, no, I think the Red Sox are definitely, in a good position. But the two teams ahead of them right now is with Tampa Bay and the Jays. I think we have to take those teams into consideration. I don't know whether or not the Yankees is an oversight. We should be paying much attention to them because the two teams that are ahead of them, they're solid teams. Now, historically, one of them tanks towards the end of the season. Historically, we've had the Orioles do that a couple of years ago. They took off like, dogs out of the gate, and then they died at the end. So maybe they may happen again. The Red Sox might have a chance to sneak into to that one game playoffs, and who knows what happens then, right?
Well, they're only down. The Red Sox are only down to the Blue Jays by one game. In Tampa Bay, it's only 2.5 games. So no, I wouldn't consider those guys. I wouldn't look at them as that it's going to be hard, especially since Toronto is 5-5 in the last 10. The Blue Jays are 6-4, and the Red Sox are on the tier at 8-2. So if they continue along the same tier, they'll overtake these guys by next week easily, and they'll be in the rearview mirror. And then they just have to chase down the Yankees, who are running scared, who have the worst record over the last 10 games in the whole division. They have a record of 3-7 because after the Red Sox put it to them in that 3-game sweep, they have not been the same. They've been dropping games left and right. They can't seem to get themselves right. The Yankees, well, after 2004, everything changed. And now the Yankees are the Red Sox of old, and the Red Sox are the Yankees of old. So if the Red Sox catch the stride, the Yankees will fold. And that
let me ask you this because I haven't heard you touched on this yet. Do you think Alex Cora deserves a second shot at in the second part of the season, and to kind of like maybe resculpt the way you think of him?
I mean, you made the change. I thought you could have fired Alex Cora and just sat Rafael Devers down until he came to his right mind. Okay, that would have been the easier thing, but they chose to stick with Alex Cora and get rid of Devers. So now you're stuck with Cora. I don't trust Cora. I think he's going to mismanage the situation as he always does, just like he mismanaged the situation with Kristen Campbell. And Campbell's back down in the minors now because he wanted Hamilton to be the second base guy. I'm sure he's going to mess up the situation with Myers and Anthony somehow when Bregman comes back. I mean, what should happen is that Story should sit. Okay, when Bregman comes back, Marcelo Myers should go to shortstop. And Story should sit, but he's not going to do that. So he's going to screw it around. He's going to mess it up. Things are going to go up and down. I don't. Alex Cora always thinks he knows better than anybody else what should happen, and he's proven over the last couple of years he doesn't. He just completely screws the situation. And I believe the situation with Devers, a lot of that had to do with Alex Cora more than anything else. I mean, I'm watching Devers. I'm watching Devers do an interview yesterday, and the guy's still speaking in Spanish. Okay, they're asking him questions in English. He has to have an interpreter. He's a guy who's been here 10 years and has not learned a bit of English, I guess. I don't know. But no, he's not answering anything in it. But then you had Alex Cora, the guy who's supposed to be relaying the information to him, okay, as a manager. How did it get so messed up? How can there be a miscommunication problem when Alex Cora is a guy who speaks Spanish? I don't think Devers got it screwed up. I think Devers took what Cora told him and then tried to regurgitate it out. It just didn't come out right. But yeah, throw your glove away. You don't have to play a base. You'll never have to do this again. That was Cora that was told. They told him that. Now Cora's playing both sides. He's got management believing in him, but he was the guy who set Rafael Devers up to look like an idiot because Devers never looked like this before. Devers never behaved in this manner before. But all of a sudden, he's a bad guy. He's a guy saying all these weird things out of his mouth, clumsy things, cumbersome things, that's making it look like he doesn't want to be here. So, you know what? Can they win with Cora? We're going to find out. I think Cora's going to find a way to mess it up, even though everything's going well.
Yeah. So those are the details that I wouldn't be, exposed to. But I appreciate you sharing that, and I don't know why Alex Cora would be doing an interview in Spanish at this point. I mean, he's played for the Red Sox. That was
Devers.
20
Devers
years
is
ago.
doing an interview. But Devers, he never tried to learn English for some reason. He's with this team for 10 years, and he's still speaking. But then again, we can't. What I was saying is that even if he does speak Spanish, even if he's not comfortable with English, Cora does speak Spanish fluently. He's bilingual, and he was supposed to relay all the information to Devers, and it was supposed to go smoothly. He would communicate this and communicate that. Kumbaya, everybody would know what was going on, and somehow it got all messed up. I'm looking at Cora.
I have some pretty strong opinions about that whole conversation, and it's probably not the time to talk about it. So we'll go ahead and just talk about the here and the now. The here and the now is that yes, you do have these issues when you have these interpreters coming in, and and we have to depend on what they understand everybody to be a part of. But it just is what it is. I don't know. Hopefully the Red Sox can continue to entertain, and they can perform well, and they can make the playoffs and maybe make some noise, and we can be excited about where they're going because they have a young team. But again, unfortunately, I'm forced to watch these lowly, Atlanta Braves get kicked around by the rest of the league, and it is what it is.
I thought Atlanta was going to be a powerhouse this year. That's what they predicted.
They are in the cellar in the NL East. They just haven't performed well. They had a lot of injuries, so I think they just got back some of their bats, but they're not producing yet. So this might just be a year you write off. When you have these injuries and you try to come back, and you're playing against the Philadelphia and the Nationals and the Mets. I mean, these teams they're not weak teams. So these things happen.
There's no fire in Atlanta like there is here. I mean, when you got a losing team here in Boston, compare the two. Compare the two. How does it feel down there? As opposed to how it feels up here when the team is losing.
Well, Atlanta's a different breed. Atlanta's a totally different breed. I mean, I will say the fan base for the Braves is amazingly strong. Especially since they put the park up in Cobb County. It's amazingly strong, but nothing compares to the Red Sox. Nothing compares to the Red Sox, the Yankees, and one would guess that maybe the Dodgers have a strong fan base, and maybe the Cubs, but nothing compares to the Red Sox and the Yankees. So I would never even try to put those two in the same conversation.
But you think they still have the fervor that they have in the Northeast about sports that they had. You think they had that in Atlanta? I'm just trying.
Yeah,
I didn't get that feeling. So I know I'm off base into this topic, but I'm just exploring it.
you never could. You never could. There's nothing that another team can do to compare against the historic franchises like the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Dodgers and things like that. It's just never going to happen. But I will say that I'm able to sit here and watch. There is a strong fan base, but it's a beautiful park. But I tell you what, you wouldn't see Fenway Park with as many empty seats as you see here in Atlanta when the team isn't doing well. Even when the Red Sox aren't doing well, that park is still full. So
yeah, they still got a bunch of people there.
No comparison at all. There's no comparison. Now we have to acknowledge that the Braves did come out of Boston.
You got the Northeast up here, and you got things going. I mean, it's just different. To me, I think it's just totally different. But again, 844-249-5247. I am getting some messages that there's a lot of feedback in our broadcast. I don't know if you can check on that, Jake. And that people are calling. They're calling and saying that they are calling, but maybe it's not showing up on the board. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are calling, we're not ignoring you. Okay, we're just having some technical difficulties today, and we're trying to work around them. Please continue to call until we get back, until we are able to, rectify the situation.
They can't wait to call. Yeah, they can't wait to call in and kick in this new guy. Like, what is he talking about?
What does he know? But it's from Atlanta. What I will do is I think it's time for a couple of commercials here. I mean, we're 9:30 and we have to pay our bills. So hold on a second while we get to some of these commercials, and we'll take care of that. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, how would you like to feel better, stand straighter, and enjoy daily activities without pain? Then look no further than Karma Don Yoga. As one of the more accomplished yoga instructors in the New England area, Karma embraces many different styles of yoga, including vinyasa, slow flow, yin, and restorative, in order to tap into your pranic energy and create a balanced mix of healing, stretch, and strength. Find her and her very affordable classes online at karmadonyoga.com. That's karma, like good karma, bad karma, dawn, like the morning dawn, yoga.com. Hey, are you feeling a little achy or sore from the cold weather? Then take a visit to Dylan's Russian Steam Bath. At Dylan's Dry Sauna or Wet Steam Room, you can de-escalate, de-stress, and detox your body and mind. A hot place to massage or a variety of oil massages are available. You will enjoy the relaxed atmosphere that features a nutritious snack bar, large screen television, and comfortable lounge chairs to cool off in during your visit. They have two convenient locations, one in Chelsea and the other in Quincy. Find them online at Dylan's Russian Steam Bath or call 617-549-3484 for more information. To enjoy your best health, visit Dylan's Russian Steam Bath, where heat, steam, and water have a therapeutic effect. All right. First commercial sets out the way. Marlon, are you drinking something? We can hear you,
Oh, no. That's my coffee machine. I'm sorry. I was during the commercial, I took a little coffee break.
We can hear the coffee machine going, buddy.
Okay.
Right. Let's move on to the NHL and one of the most exciting series that has occurred in the last 10 to 15 years. Other than the Bruins winning back in 2010. Florida Panthers came in. Were they the favorite? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they were the favorite. I know that many people. Right.
The Panthers were a slight favorite. The Panthers were definitely a slight. And if you ask Magic, which Kevin has asked numerous times who I thought was going to win, I too thought the Panthers were the team that was going to prevail.
You did?
Yeah, but just for those who just want to know, this is no. I don't need Google. My daddy knows everything. This is the mug here. But yes, no, I thought the Panthers failed. For whatever reason, Florida just seems to you'd never guess, but the hottest, one of the hottest states in the nation seems to figure this whole hockey thing out. And the Panthers have just been, the most accomplished team in the last couple of years. I didn't really know what the Oilers would do. I think the Oilers are up and coming, like a lot of these teams now in sports. They're young, but they have to learn. I didn't have a lot to go on. I was just guessing. And yeah, the Panthers did it. Now, let's talk about how they did it. Okay. So I thought some of the challenges that the Oilers had was defense. I thought the goal.
I think that became obvious.
Yeah, I think because we could look, we can say, oh man, how did he get beat like that? But I mean, the Panthers, man, they just put on a barrage of shots, and at some point you're gonna get beat. And there's some of those goals that were, I mean, the guy didn't have a chance. So
Sam Reinhart scores 4 goals in the closeout game. I mean, I don't know Reinhart does not look to me like Wayne Gretzky or Alex Ovechkin. I mean, he might be a good player, but you let this guy score 4 goals. I mean, Reinhart. I mean, yes, there's a problem defensively. I know 2 of them were empty netters, and Brad Marchand, he just went crazy. Here's what I think about the whole thing. The NHL Finals, they're over. And as I predicted, the Florida Panthers are Stanley Cup champions once again. Now, I didn't really do this because I thought that the Panthers were so much better. It was more of a sentimental choice because they had Brad Marchand on the team. And I love me some Brad Marchand. I mean, the guy was the heart and soul of the Bruins. And for a very low price, a bottom basement price, he was the heart and soul of the Bruins for, 13 years. I believe 13. I think he came in 2010. So almost 15 years, 15 to 16 years. He was just traded away this year. And what I'm amazed about, as I did further research on the Panthers, was this is really a team of cast-offs. A lot of these guys that we're looking at, a lot of these guys, Tkachuk,
yeah.
Sam Bennett, they were traded. They were traded from Calgary. Okay, Calgary traded those guys to the Panthers. Carter Verhaeghe, he was released. This guy was released, just let go by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Like, have a nice day. See you later. Go away. You're kidding me, right? Sam Reinhart, he was traded to Florida by Buffalo. Evan Rodriguez was let go by the Avalanche. Eetu Luostarinen from the Hurricanes. Gustav Forsling from Carolina, when the Hurricanes placed him on waivers. And Brad Marchand from the Bruins, right at the trade deadline, because the Bruins, they're always looking to shed payroll for a draft pick in the future. Why? Because, they really don't care about you fans. They don't care about the players. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about the city. Shedding payroll, making money, that's the number one goal. And if you don't like it, much like the Rafael Devers, behavior or attitude, so what? This is the way it's be. Like it or lump it. If you don't like it, still just buy tickets to the game. Okay. Not only that. Okay. We have journeymen Nate Smith and Dmitry Kukolov. These guys have been around the league. Other teams didn't even want them. Panthers pick them up. And then they have their own draft picks of Alexander Barkov, Seth Jones, Aaron Ekblad, Anton Lundell. You have a team, really, I mean, that's the guys they drafted, but the rest of the team, the cast-offs. You have a team powered by guys who came from another system, another team, another franchise, and now do not want to leave. I mean, obviously, we have to give credit to the general manager, Bill Zito, and Paul Maurice, who's the coach. These guys have put these guys in this position. Everybody seems to work together. Everybody seems to want to work together, and everybody is just getting it done. And they grind it out and they get it done. So I don't know what to tell you guys, but they're a model. They're the model that everybody should be looking at, how to get things done, how to do it. I know darn well that the Bruins aren't looking at it. They don't care. But if you're a team out there that cares, you should be looking at how the Florida Panthers put this together and how they're getting it done. What do you think?
Well, the Boston Bruins, they're in a unique situation, right? Like, because you have a lot
Unique.
of, well, I would say unique in the sense that they have eyes on a lot of these young players without having to travel all around to go find this talent, right? I mean,
Right.
You got some of the best hockey players.
Boston University, Boston College.
You have them right at your front door.
Harvard, unbelievable.
Yeah, you got them right at your front door. I mean, you got all of New England. You got some of the best hockey players, the best young hockey players,
Evan Rodriguez,
right at your
out
front
of Boston,
door.
Boston University.
Yeah, so it's interesting that they can't quite scout better. I don't.
They can't go down the street. They can't go down the street to the games and watch. They just can't do it. It's too much work.
It's really interesting. But hey, that's the Boston Bruins. They are who we are. They, remember that stretch where they never missed the playoffs. There was a stretch
but they were
where
just
Boston
barely
Bruins
getting their toes in just to go out in the first round. Many a time. And we've had callers. We've had callers that emphasize that the Bruins just wanted to get in there in order to put some more games in the garden and the T-Day, and clean up a little bit more on the bottom line. But as far as actually working and spending on the team, that's not what they were interested in.
So you blame Don Sweeney. Is that what you blame?
I blame management. I believe Don Sweeney is only doing what the ownership. I guess when I say management, I shouldn't say no. I'm wrong. I blame ownership. Don Sweeney is only doing what ownership tells him to do, and ownership is quite satisfied with what Don Sweeney is doing, or else they would have let him go. But they didn't do that. They re-signed him to another contract. They extended his contract, so they are quite happy with what is going on, how he's holding the bottom line, how he's making sure that the bottom line is the most important part of the team, not spending the money. And this has been going on. Who was the guy? Sinden. Since Sinden was there, and the Jacobs. The Jacobs have only won one championship in the 50 years that they've owned this team. That was 2010. They've owned this team for 50 years. They've won one championship. They're not concerned with winning, ladies and gentlemen. Friends of Boston, ladies. I hate to give good people bad news, but let's be honest. One championship in 50 years, they've been, but they have one championship. And I may be wrong, maybe it's two, but we're still talking about. I think it's two. I think
they should have had two
in 50 years.
They should have had two. They shouldn't have choked like they did. What's that? And what was that? The 14 season. They choked with Chicago.
Yeah, well, they've choked. They've done this, but I think their first championship, they bought the team when the team was rolling high, and they won. That's when they won back in the 70s. It was the second championship of the 70s, and since then they've only won in 2010. So even though they have two championships under the Jacobs, the first one's really not theirs. There's only really one that they've won in 50 years that they put their mind to, and after they won that one, they took their foot off the gas and said, "We gave you one, Boston. Send us an email. Send us an email. Get back to us. Aren't you guys happy? Shut up and move along now. We don't want to hear anything else. We gave you one championship in 50 years. Let us race our horses and collect our revenue."
I think honestly, as a fan, like I said back when I was a child, way back in the day, the excitement. You like rivalries, right? So the biggest rivalry was the Bruins and the Canadians, right? So
Right.
when they had that rivalry, they don't have it right now. If you think about it, there's just
No, they
nobody
don't
that
have
they
it.
can. They don't have it. So I think we're not overlooking the lack of success, but even we were willing to overlook the lack of success as long as we were competing and beating Montreal. That was that was our idea of a successful season, but they just don't have the rivalry now. So, and listen, hockey is probably one of the
Yeah,
weirdest.
they can't just give us that anymore. Now they got to give us more. They're not going to give us more
Right.
than beating Montreal.
Yeah, hockey is probably one of the weirdest and hardest sports to follow in terms of who's going to actually come out of the, each division. I mean, teams are constantly moving along. Um, there was a team that had probably been in the league for 5 years. I'm like, well, who is that? And that was the Columbia Yellow Jack. Was it the Yellow Jackets?
Yeah,
I kept
Yellow
saying,
Jackets. Yeah.
I kept saying, where are they? Who are they? You know what I mean? Because I'm used to back in the day, Winnipeg Jets and Hartford Whalers. Way going back when I was a kid. So I'm like, who are the Hurricanes? Right? I'm sitting there thinking. I got down here to Atlanta and I had a Thrashers hoodie, and then 5 seconds later they were gone. So
Go on, baby.
so for me in hockey and sports in Atlanta, it's a tough sport to follow from down here.
But it's further down, right down there, just down the street in Florida. It's going crazy.
Yeah, which is amazing because if it's not Tampa, it's Florida. That's being a dominant team. So yeah, so I'd love to really give a lot more insight as to what I think's going on in the NHL. I really don't. I did look at these finals. I thought they were going to be 7 games, but unlike the NBA, it didn't fulfill that. So there you have it.
There you have it.
But I will say that I think the Panthers have a solid goalie who's hopefully, the Bruins, they were good when they would have a solid goalie, and then the following year he'd be gone. You keep thinking that was going to be that guy, right? I can't remember all the names. I know Pete Peters one year we thought he was going to be the next great guy, and he was gone. So yeah, I don't know. Who are the other ones we had? What's his name? Tim Thornton, was it?
Joe Thornton.
Not Thornton. Joe, draft pick. The goalie for the team in 2010. The goalie for the team.
You're not talking about Tuukka Rask. Not Tuukka Rask. Who's the other guy?
No, not Tuukka Rask. Tuukka Rask was
I forgot his name. How could he brought us the championship? How can we forget?
Yeah, Tuukka Rask.
We have a commercial we're going to go to. So what we will do is we'll try to look that up in between the commercial.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, we'll get that information for you because we are dedicated and we want to make sure that we give you the best. We want to give you the best.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that when we talk, we know what we're talking about. We're just not some ignoramuses just spouting off at the mouth here. So let me get to my commercial. I'm going to throw a little music on this. Because I'm going to need it. Let's see what we got here. Here we go.
Tim Thomas.
Well, welcome to Oyama Investments Limited, where your dreams find a foundation. At Oyama Investments, we are more than just a real estate company. We are your trusted partner in building a secure future. Whether you are investing in a property that will grow with you or purchasing a dream home, we make the process easy, transparent, and rewarding. Oyama Investments specializes in finding properties that align perfectly with your goals. Imagine owning a piece of the future, whether it is a luxury apartment, a commercial space, or a family home in the perfect neighborhood. And if you are new to real estate, don't worry. We are here every step of the way, helping you to make informed choices with confidence. With real estate prices rising, there's never been a better time to invest. Are you ready to see your dreams come to life? Well then, visit Oyama Investments. That's at www.oyamainvestments.com. That's www.oyamainvestments.com. Or call 617-221-8881 today. That's 617-221-8881 today, where your vision becomes a reality. Oyama Investments. How'd you guys like that music?
Hey,
fantastic
nice soothing music. Nice soothing music.
A little jazz there, a little jazz going on.
Yep.
Okay, let's try to get through the NBA Finals going forward. How about that?
Hey, let me just jump in real quick. Just a little bit of house cleaning. It was Tim Thomas, the winning goal. Tim Thomas.
Oh my gosh.
And Tuukka Rask was part of that team that choked. So, but yeah, let's get on to the NBA. It's probably one of the most exciting NBA championships finals I've seen in quite some time. I don't know if I can name one that's better than these. These are exciting. No one, I think, is a pick'em in Game 7. This is a great time. We won't talk about you and I, and our little agreement. We'll that's a side deal there. But yeah, I think this is great. I think it's a pick'em. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I picked the Pacers. I wanted them to win. I'm still enamored with Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, this guy here he's just caught me. I'm with him. Where's our picture? There he is. That guy right there, Mr. Underdog.
The underdog.
But anyone else picked OKC. OKC could win. Yeah, OKC could win. They're the favorite. I think you picked OKC.
I did. I picked OKC, and to be honest with you, I did not think that it was going to be 7-game series. I actually thought OKC going into these playoffs were probably the most dominant team that we've seen in quite some time with the defense they play and their tenacity, and they constantly move. They have probably one of the more dynamic players. It was just a complete show.
But now it's in the 7th game, and Indiana doesn't look like that. We have a caller, so we're going to get him on.
Okay, let's go with that caller.
Hello, welcome to the show. Hello. Don't worry, we're experiencing difficulties. I got to tell you, this is Jake's first time working, and we have him in a tough spot, right on the air, his first time out. So we can't hear you, and we're working on it. Don't worry. We might be able to figure it out. If not, we might have to call back.
Maybe it's the caller.
Spot here.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, keep going. Continue.
Yeah. So, so I didn't think that Indiana was going to have this much fight in them. I think if you look at
right.
Yeah. I think if you look at talent, I think OKC probably has a slight advantage, and that advantage, it falls heavily on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I know that Halliburton was that player that they voted most overrated. I bet you. I wonder if they reheld those. If they had those votes again, whether or not he'd be on that list.
I want to know who we kept. Well, they said it was the NBA players who did this. So it shows you how much they know. These guys are just counting their checks. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's anonymous. I don't like that, but hey, he's showing the league that he's a complete player. I think everybody gets lost with his stats, but if you look what he does, he's a complete player. So I think Shai is also a complete player. He's just a better scorer. I like that our superstars right now look the way these guys look today in today's league. The Tatums and the Halliburtons and the Anthony Edwards. These guys, they're complete players. And they're unselfish players.
You know what? I want people like Halliburton. I don't want people like Rafael Devers. I want a guy out there who's going to give everything for a team. And I'm not saying that like give your life and give you don't have no, but at least try to do something for your team. I think that the league is in good hands. I think SGA is a very good player, but I think the NBA is giving him the James Harden treatment already, which is always going to not bode well in the future for him because he's going to expect these type of calls all the time. He's at the point now where you can't touch him. I mean, Caitlin Clark gets more physicality than SGA at this point in time. You cannot even get close to SGA without them calling a foul on you. Caitlin Clark can get bumped around, from one edge of the court to the other, and they won't call a foul. So that goes to show you how much they're protecting SGA right now.
I have to agree. I mean, they're anticipating him having someone in his vicinity. If they're in the vicinity, they're going to put the whistle in their mouth, and then as soon as he shoots, they're going to blow that whistle. It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
SJG. I like his game. I like him. It's not an attack on him. It's not an indictment on his game. I mean, the guy isn't a phenomenal ball plair, but
I think he'd be a phenomenal player without the calls. I think he would even learn more because he's going to go to James Harden and Giannis effect, where he's going to get stuck there and not improve his game. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Keep going on it because we've noticed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was a call last, and they had to overturn the call. It was obvious that the guy was nowhere near him, but they just assumed that it's got to be a foul, right? So I think that's the only bad part about the officiating is that it's heavily leaning towards, OKC in that regard, But yeah, it's otherwise. This it's entertaining.
And it's entertaining. But it's too obvious not to know. Sometimes, you think you're watching the WWE, that you can't be kidding me. And all of us who have watched professional sports, you can't tell us that we don't recognize the obvious when it comes to the NBA, that they try to sway, especially the finals. They try to pick the winner for you. I mean, you can't keep calling the fouls that you call, not just, and this is the LeBron effect, that they're just not going to call it for LeBron. They're going to call it for his team. All these guys who never got fouls before, now that LeBron's on the team, they're going to call fouls for them. That's the same thing happening with SGA. Not only is SGA getting these bogus calls, but they're giving them to the rest of his teammates who would never see this again if SGA wasn't on the team. So, Adam Silver, you're terrible. You're terrible. I mean, Vince McMahon makes it look more real than you. He makes it look more real. Wow. I mean, you actually think that, some of the other guys in the WWE have a chance until the guy jumps off the top rope and finishes them off. But we're looking at it and we're saying if Indiana beats this, beats OKC, they had to beat the refs, Adam Silver, and everybody above them because you're giving them no chance to do it. They're just doing it anyway.
All right. So real quick, because time is ticking. Real quick, I'm gonna stick with my pick, OKC. You're gonna stick with your pick, Indiana. And Hook or Crook, we're sticking with our picks, right? Hook or Crook, we're sticking with our picks.
Right.
I don't think either one of us would be disappointed if the other team wins because it's a really pick-em series. But I just want to say something real quick that's not in the outline. I just wanted to talk, since we're talking about the NBA, I think it's amazing that the two most historic NBA teams have sold in the same year. The Lakers are being sold for $10 billion. They had to beat the Celtics. They had to beat the Celtics in something, right?
That's the way life goes. Have a good one, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good one. Thank you for listening. Remember, next week, we'll be back, and technical difficulties will be taken care of.
Always a pleasure.
Woo! That was a good one. We had a great time.